Round of applause for him, please. Also joining him on the stage is Ms. Sharmila Bhaumik, Business Editor, Republic Media and Editor. I beg your pardon, Republic Media Network. What a good day to have you here with us, sir.
It's always good to be here.
Since I was a very young reporter back in Calcutta, and when your father used to chair the press conferences, I have been tracking your story. So, when I hear about your group, when I hear about the story of your company, the first thing that strikes me is how beautifully you've been able to remain agile over decades. So what is at the heart of the RPSG group?
One of the things that legacy teaches you is to grow, and grow by responding to situations, to the environment, which is what we've been doing. So if I were to track our evolution over the last several decades, it's gone from jute, textiles and tea to commodities to infrastructure, and now with a focus on the consumer. So if you see, we've moved away or are moving away from government intervention intensive businesses. We are moving towards businesses where the consumer is the king. There is consumer focus, there is consumer centricity, and we are moving to value-added businesses. So growth, which is profitable, growth which is in value-added sectors, growth which is in sectors where you get higher multiples than routine.
What makes your group unique to me is that, people say that West Bengal needs investments, this and that, but you've been able to expand from that geography and expand your footprint wide and far. So there has not been any restriction for your growth, as I can see over the years.
Well, we've invested completely nationally. So in fact, some of our big investments are in Western India. We've invested actually across the country. As we have invested in Bengal, and we've been by and large happy with our investments across the country. I must say that we've recently, over the last few years, invested a lot in Uttar Pradesh, and I've been blown away by what I see of what's happening in Uttar Pradesh and the leadership provided by Yogi ji. It's absolutely fantastic.
Infrastructure is the cornerstone of any company or any development to take place. But at the same time, being able to embrace technology is very important. And for legacy groups, for companies which have been around for decades, how is being able to adapt to new technologies important right now?
Probably one of the most important things. Adapting to technology, adapting to situations, adapting to agility, and how fast the consumer expects you to change. That is now going to be the cornerstone of successful businesses going forward. We are trying to do that. We're trying to reinvent ourselves. It's a continuous process, and every day there is something new to be learned. And I think our Prime Minister shows us the way, in the way he's leading the country, in the way he's redefined the country, in the way he's taken every Indian's prestige on the world stage to a different level, in the way he's redefined aspirations, in the way he's redefined the scale. I think that is what each one of us need to do in our own small domains.
There has perhaps never been a better time for India Inc. because of the stability that we are enjoying at the moment. So and manufacturing is increasingly becoming important in India as well, and therein comes in power. power and power supply. So, what is your comment on the current, ease of doing business environment in India?
Well, I think the BJP government has changed the way one operated in India. And it's become so much easier to think global, genuinely think global scales, to manufacture in India, to operate in India, and to grow from India. I think that's a huge change. In the past 15, 20 years ago, we didn't have economic policies which were conducive to growth. Today we do. And that's why you see almost every Indian company is growing and growing very fast.
One of the big discussions at all times is India versus China versus the world. And we are all cheerleaders of India, of course. So what are the few steps that India has to keep in mind as it sort of gallops forward?
I think we've taken many steps, and of course, they'll always mange more. But I think there is enough on our plate to actually move ahead. And if I were to look at the growth plans that we have, I mean, even those may be small by national standards, but are enough to keep us busy for the next 3-4 years. And they will be at a scale which we've never invested in the past. It's much, 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 much more. And I think this is pretty much the same story I hear when I discuss around industry and around corporates. So you will see expansion, you will see investments, you will see job creations, you will see wealth creation. And that is thanks to the policies of this government.
Unemployment has been in conversations in the country, in the narrative. But do you think that is a challenge or an opportunity? I mean, because skilled talent is also our forte. So do you see there is a demographic advantage we have at the moment?
When a nation grows, I think more and more and more people get employed, and there are more opportunities. And that's what's happening. So I'm not a statistician, so I don't know the specific data. But having said that, all I can say is that I see many more jobs being created. I see many more people being employed. I see a lot more consumption happening than has ever happened in the past. And those are signs of growth.
There are lots of emerging segments that we are already witnessing in manufacturing areas, and the way technology has changed, even in your consumer goods segment, the way people consume, everything is in a dynamic change. So what are the few trends over the next couple of years that you see India is ready to witness?
I think the Indian consumer is becoming more and more demanding. Better quality, cheaper prices, innovations change much faster, willing to experiment, shifting towards green, quote unquote, more and more natural. So I think these are trends, but 2 years from now, 3 years from now, you'll see different trends. So we are investing largely now in, so my son is going to launch a venture for alternate natural pharma, which he will launch in India in April and in the US in November. It's a new trend. It's about consuming things which are chemical free, but are equally efficacious in terms of the results that they grant. These are inspired by Ayurveda. And this is going to be a very big move towards taking Ayurveda to the international stage.
Conscious capitalism,
Absolutely, conscious capitalism, but also taking pride in our Indian roots, in our Indian origins, in the science and technology that India has had for centuries, but has not taken it global.
You have always been entrenched in Bengal. Oh, what is your take on the industrial environment in our state?
You know, I've learned not to look at one state in isolation. I look at the nation, that's my playground. And there are enough growth opportunities everywhere. I must say that I'm emotionally invested in Bengal. Born there, lived there, will die there. So, you know, when you speak about Bengal, to me, you speak to a person who's biased.
Bengal, of course, has been a bank of talent for the rest of the country and perhaps large parts of the world. So it's time that we also saw, that benefit coming back to the state. Having said that, the young energy of the country is something to be reined in because, there is a lot of skill available in the country right now. So, as employers, what do you think? What sort of talent are you looking for? Should the next generation be, really basing their education on, efforts on?
I think as long as they're willing to be sincere, as long as they are willing to use their minds, I think opportunities are enormous.
This portfolio of your group is so wide, from power to consumer goods. What next?
We've just announced to take over in a specialty chemicals company. That's our first step into chemicals and hopefully not the last.
It's a major one.
It's a big one for us, yes.
So do you think that as India, makes infrastructure its strength by putting its force behind roads, ports, airports, that is where, the big companies should focus on and not just emerging techs and etc.?
I think each one to his own. Opportunities are so large in every sphere within the country that wherever you grow efficiently, you will grow enormously.
Currently, the economic, the macro data is absolutely at its peak and we are doing absolutely fine. The companies are also, turning profits, profitability is high. Investments and banks are also becoming wiser. So, financing or drawing capital is no more a big issue, big challenge.
Not at all.
So, is India Inc. really ambitious at this moment, or is this just a phase? What will sustain the dream run that India Inc. is witnessing right now?
I think it's the confidence that Prime Minister Modi has been able to instill in the whole corporate sector that aap jao kaam karo hum hain, and I think that is a very big statement of confidence. He's constantly saying think big, think global, and that's what we are all following or trying to follow, and we hope we can live up to his expectations.
Many major companies in the country, which have been guardians of India Inc., are now sort of poised at a place where they have to create their legacy, leave something behind. All the big companies, yours is also one of those. So if you can give us a hint about what is your future roadmap, where do we see your company 10 years from now?
In terms of growth, chemicals will be our next major step of growth. We've just announced one acquisition. Hopefully there will be more as we go along. The legacy that we pride ourselves in is one of values, one of being fair to people, and one of growth. So growth based on efficiency, based on fairness, based on values, and growth which is agile and responsive.
This is perhaps for the first time that the government the policymakers, and the wealth creators. They have come to a sort of stability which is working very well for India Inc. because, profits or work environment, and we have braved this huge pandemic, and everybody has sprung back. So, what are the things that people need to keep in mind to keep this stability going?
As long as Prime Minister Modi is there, I think the country is in very safe hands.
Is there any divide geographically? We just heard some comments on north and south divide or an east and west divide.
I frankly don't look at the nation or at the country as north, south, east, west. I look at it as Bharat.
And because you must be in touch with so many, conglomerates globally also, how do you think exactly the world, what's the lens that the world has on India realistically?
The world sees India in a new light, with new confidence, with new respect, and sees India as the next big thing to happen on the world stage. And I think it's our moment. We have to go out and grab it.
You think we can do it by 2047?
100%.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. It's been an honor and privilege. And thank you, Arnab, for having me here. Thank you.
And before we end, I would request you to give your expectations for Republic Business, which we have launched today.
Would expect Republic Business to emulate the success of Republic and Republic Bharat. Wouldn't expect anything else from Arnab.
Thank you so much, sir.
All the best on your new venture.